In the heart of Zango, a small village resting in the cradle of a golden savannah, lived a woman named Salima. Her life mirrored the cracked earth beneath her feet, worn and barren. Her clothes hung from her frail frame like tattered banners of defeat, offering scant protection from the elements. Her home, little more than a crumbling hut, leaked whenever the heavens wept, and the cold winds of the night danced freely through its broken windows. Salima's bed was the hard, unforgiving floor, where she curled up nightly like a shivering stray, dreaming of a life that always seemed just out of reach. Each morning, the sun greeted her with the same unyielding reality. Salima worked tirelessly to survive. She fetched water from the distant well, scrubbed laundry for her neighbors, and toiled under the blistering sun in fields that weren't her own. Yet, no matter how much she gave, her hands returned empty, and her belly remained hollow. The women she had grown up with had married and now enjoyed the comforts of family. Their laughter rang through the village as their children played in the dust. Salima, however, was alone. The villagers whispered that she was cursed, a bearer of bad luck. Men avoided her, fearing her misfortune might become theirs. Salima, unnoticed and unloved, trudged through her days like a shadow, clinging to the fragile hope that life would one day offer her a reprieve. One scorching afternoon, Salima made her way to the river, carrying a bundle of threadbare clothes. The water sparkled like liquid silver under the blazing sun. Kneeling at the bank, she scrubbed the fabric with hands calloused and cracked from years of labor. The gentle murmur of the river offered her a rare solace. A rustling sound pulled her from her thoughts. She turned quickly, her heart racing. Before her stood a regal woman, her clothing radiant and her jewelry glinting like starlight. The woman's smile was sharp, her presence commanding. "Good day," the stranger said, her voice smooth and melodic. Salima, stunned, stammered a reply. "Good day, ma." The woman stepped closer, her gaze unwavering. "My name is Kamir. I have watched you, Salima." "I know your hardships." Salima's eyes widened. How did this stranger know her name? Kamir's smile deepened. "I can change your life. I have a proposition for you." Curiosity and desperation intertwined in Salima's chest. "What kind of proposition?" she asked cautiously. Kamir reached into her satchel and withdrew a bundle of crisp and new banknotes. "Collect discarded garments for me. The older and more personal, the better. For every bundle you bring, I will reward you generously." Salima blinked, her mind spinning. "Garments?" she echoed, uncertain. Kamir nodded. "Yes. Don't ask why. Just do this, and you'll never go hungry again." The stranger handed Salima the money and turned to leave, her parting words lingering in the humid air. "I'll be waiting." Salima sat by the river for what felt like hours, staring at the money in her hands. Questions swirled in her mind, but so did a flicker of hope. She gathered her clothes and returned home with a heart that thumped like a drum. The next morning, she devised a plan. With Kemi's money, Salima purchased vibrant buckets and bowls from the market. When she returned to the village, she knocked on the first door. An elderly woman answered, her gaze wary. "Good morning, Mama," Salima greeted, holding up a bright blue bucket. "I'm trading these for any old clothes, shoes, or fabric you no longer need." The woman's skepticism faded as her eyes lingered on the bucket. She returned moments later with a bundle of worn garments. "Here," she said. Salima smiled and handed over the bucket, thanking her. House after house, the pattern repeated. Villagers gladly traded their unwanted items for Salima's shiny wares. By sundown, her sack was overflowing. That night, she carefully sorted through her collection, separating the most worn pieces. She delivered the bundle to Kemi at the river under the cover of darkness. Kemi's smile gleamed as she handed Salima another stack of money. Days turned to weeks, and Salima's trade flourished. Her buckets and bowls became prized possessions. The villagers marveled at her transformation. Her hut, once in shambles, now stood strong with a new roof and sealed windows. Her clothes were as bright as her newfound confidence. Yet, whispers lingered. Her neighbor, Tinu, watched her with sharp eyes. Salima's nightly trips to the river did not go unnoticed. One evening, Tinu followed her, curiosity outweighing caution. Hidden in the tall grass, Tinu watched as Salima handed over her bundles to Kemi, who chanted softly. The garments seemed to dissolve in her hands, leaving a faint, eerie glow. A chill ran down Tina's spine. The next morning, Tina reported what she had seen to the village elders. Alarmed, they summoned Salima. Under the weight of their stern gazes, she confessed to her dealings with Kamir. "She promised me a better life." Salima wept. "I didn't know it would bring harm." The elders sought the help of the village priest. Together, they confronted Kamir at the Baobab tree. The air grew heavy as the priest chanted, his staff glowing faintly. Kami's once commanding presence faltered, her figure dissolving into mist. The garments she had taken reappeared, falling to the ground lifelessly. Peace returned to Zango, but Salima's shame lingered. Despite the forgiveness offered by many, she felt unworthy. She decided to leave Zango, her heart heavy but resolved to find redemption elsewhere. As she departed, the villagers watched her silhouette fade into the horizon. Her story, one of desperation and redemption, became a tale told to children under the shade of the Baobab tree. It was a story of caution, a reminder of the dangers of unchecked ambition and the enduring strength of community. Salima wandered for days, her steps slow and her spirit weighed down by the gravity of her mistakes. She arrived in a neighboring village called Mirando, a place vibrant with markets, music, and laughter. Here, she resolved to start anew. With the small savings she had left, Salima rented a modest hut and began trading simple goods baskets, clay pots, and woven mats. Her hard work soon earned her a reputation for honesty and diligence. But the scars of her past haunted her. Salima found herself avoiding mirrors, unable to face the reflection of the woman she had become. Nights were the hardest. The silence echoed with memories of Zango and the chants of Kami. One evening, as the moon bathed the village in silver light, an old woman approached her stall. The woman's eyes were sharp, her presence eerily familiar. "You have seen the shadows," the old woman said, her voice heavy with knowing. Salima froze. "You carry their weight," the woman continued. "But shadows cannot thrive in the light. You must speak of what you've seen, child." The words struck Salima like a lightning bolt. For too long, she had buried the truth, afraid of judgment. But the old woman's advice lingered, urging her to confront her past. Salima decided to return to Zango, not to seek forgiveness, but to share her story and prevent others from falling into the same traps. Her return was met with shock and curiosity. The villagers gathered under the Baobab tree as Salima stood before them, her voice trembling but firm. She recounted every detail, the desperation, the bargain, and the haunting consequences of her choices. Her honesty moved the villagers, many of whom wept openly. The elders declared the day a time of reflection. They carved Salima's story into the bark of the Baobab tree, ensuring it would be remembered for generations. Salima's courage to face her past became a beacon of hope, and though she remained a wanderer, she found peace in knowing her tale had turned into a powerful lesson for all. The Baobab tree, once a silent witness to her despair, now stood as a monument of resilience, its roots stretching deep into the soil, holding the weight of stories that shaped the village of Zango and beyond. But Salima's journey didn't end there. Months after her tale became a legend, she ventured to a bustling city far beyond the savannah. There, she encountered a new world of opportunity and challenge. The city's towering buildings and crowded streets were a far cry from the tranquil simplicity of Zango. Yet Salima saw it as a place to rebuild herself anew. In this unfamiliar land, she began weaving stories of her own. Her tales, rooted in her experiences of sorrow, resilience, and redemption, captivated audiences. She spoke in market squares and community gatherings, her words becoming a source of inspiration for many who felt trapped by their circumstances. Over time, Salima's name became synonymous with hope. Her journey from the depths of despair to a life of purpose reminded people that even the most broken among them could rise again. She became a living legend, her story a testament to the power of perseverance and the unyielding strength of the human spirit. And though Salima never returned to Zango to stay, she carried the village in her heart. The Baobab tree, with its deep roots and towering presence, remained a symbol of where her journey began and where it would forever hold its meaning. Her story, now passed down through generations, ensured that the lessons of Zango would never be forgotten, rippling outward to touch lives far beyond the savannah.